Welcome to Mini Bedroom Interviews, a show dedicated to diving deeper into the artist and for the artist to dive deeper. I am your host, Ridgio, and today we have another special guest. It's a man I met actually last week. He welcomed me into his home and helped me out with some screen printing, but I just recognized how amazing of an artist he is, how great of a person he is overall, and he has a very interesting story. Let's introduce and give a hand to Reggie McFly.
Hey, clap it up. I'm here.
Yes, sir. How you feeling,
man?
Reggie?
Pretty good. Loving the weather. Just great energy, Joe.
Yeah. All summertime shy, you can't even beat it, too.
You can't beat it, man. It's all around the world you hear about summertime shy, good or bad.
So are you from Chicago?
Yeah, man. Born and raised. Definitely, this is my home. Anywhere I go throughout the world, I always have a fort here. This is my place.
Nice. Which part of the city you from?
South Side. Wild hundreds.
The Wild Hundred?
Wild hundred.
I always heard crazy stories about the Wild Hundreds growing up.
Yeah, I don't think it's as wild as it was when I was coming up, but yeah, it's pretty decent.
What was the craziest thing you feel like you seen in the hundreds growing up?
You know what? I saw somebody living on the lawn. Like day to day, there was a couch out there that folded out to a bed. So somebody like living on somebody's lawn. That was the craziest thing I seen in the hundreds. Like day to day, wintertime throughout summertime.
That is wintertime.
Wintertime. Blanket up, coated up, everything. Living on the lawn. This is crazy, you know. Wild hundreds.
What do you feel like is your favorite thing about being from out there in particular in the hundreds?
So from living in Hyde Park a little bit, I would say that would be the Jeffersons of the South Side. So, like, when you move on up, like the uppity Negroes who live in that part, or Bronzeville, you would call it. So the best thing about being from the hundreds, I would say, is just the diversity. So it wasn't too hood, but it wasn't suburban either.
Yeah.
So you had a mix of both. So you had all different types of kids and everything. But we, for the most part, stuck together. It was cool. It wasn't like the projects.
Yeah, true.
So in the projects, you know, everybody has those great project stories. Oh, we from this building. We from this project. We stuck together. We ate on the porch. We did all this type of stuff. We didn't particularly have those stories. Like, people had a little bit of money, but not a lot. Just enough not to be too hood, but not to be too uppity either.
Yeah.
So we was like in the median. I would say in the hundreds.
Nice.
So it was cool.
That's hard. So what's your earliest memory of doing visual art?
It had to be drawn as a kid. So as a kid, I collected a lot of magazines, mostly like wrestling magazines, slam magazines. Yeah. And I would just open it up and I would just draw pictures from in the magazine. Then I later progressed to having like VHSs. For people that don't know, that's when you pop the big cassette in the
big
VCR.
Black tape.
Big black tape. You press the play button, connect it to the TV. So I would watch a movie like For Belly, for instance. I was thinking about that the other day. So there's this one scene with Lennox when he was smoking a cigar, and I paused it, and I drew that picture of him smoking a cigar from the VCR, like looking at the TV. So those are like my earliest memories. Like, those memories are like a real emotional connection, because when I would pause that VCR, I would draw things out of the magazine, nothing else mattered. It was like I didn't hear any talking, anything. It was just me, my thoughts, in drawing. So I was like separated from the world. It's like you're in the zone. So to gain those back in adulthood is real special, because you got everything else going on, and when you can separate from that and be in that zone again, it's like, man, you liberated. It's like nothing matters again. Nothing matters.
Yeah,
so
that's raw. It's wild because you bring up like the VCR tapes and everything, and I remember we had a conversation. You telling me you was born in the '80s. Do you feel like you're more of a '80s baby, or do you feel like you're more of a '90s baby?
I feel like I'm more of a now baby. Like, people my age, you know, I don't hang out with too many people my age. Everybody I hang out with is like 20s to early 20s to late 20s. Yeah. So I feel like I was born in the tail end of the 80s, like 88.
88, yeah.
So I saw a good amount of the 90s. but I can't relate to it. Like, I saw Jordan play a few times, things like that. Pac died, Big died. Went through that music, the Jay-Z. In the 2000s, I went through Lil Jon and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm really connecting with what's going on now because I feel like I'm more involved with what's going on now than I ever was in the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers the question.
No, but that makes sense though. It's like this is what you're most connected to though. Because I was born in 95 and I'm a 90s baby for sure. But a lot of people that was born in my era, they'll be like, I feel like they'll connect to a lot of experiences that happened in the early 2000s. Whereas for me, I feel like I was most connected with a lot of experiences that was going on in the 2010s. Like, I just feel like that was an era that I felt like I was just a part of. Like, that last decade that we just came out of, it just felt so real to me, you know?
Right.
But, I'm still a 90s baby, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was just what I connect to, so I understand what you mean. Like, this is what you connect to now, like today.
Yeah, it's like the 2010s, that was my clubbing decade. So I spent so much time in the club. It was just crazy. So when I look back at that, I'm like, man, is that really my era? Or do I feel more myself painting and drawing and creating fashion and stuff like that? I feel like this is my era now.
Right now, yeah, that's
like,
nice.
I'm really doing what I love to do.
Yeah.
So when I look back, maybe if I make it to 80 or 90 or 70 or something, I look back like, man, my best times were in my 30s. You know, this is the time I really felt connected with the earth and the universe and God and everything. You know, this is my era.
Yeah.
So
right
far.
now. So I know you did art back when you was young, but I remember you was telling me like you had like a little break in between that. You know what I'm saying? And it was sports.
The puberty break.
The puberty break. So tell me about that break and how did you find yourself back to art?
So the puberty break, man, of course, when I was younger or when guys or younger girls, the video games was big.
Yeah.
So I went from drawing into the video games, but I could kind of live in between the two. Because video games and drawing is kind of like the same type of thing, art and video games. Yeah. So sports hit around 7th, 8th grade. Basketball, you know, LeBron, Iverson, Vince Carter, all those things. Everybody wanted to hoop. My mom bought me a basketball rim. Nice. The whole nation came, the whole hundreds came to hoop on that rim. Yeah. So you automatically the man when you got the basketball rim. Everybody's coming, knocking on the door all types of times a day. Can we bring the rim out, this and that? So basketball became a big thing. Yeah. Then the girls. So how we got into the girls is the AOL Messenger.
Oh, yeah.
The Urban Chat. All these little things.
You remember Tagged.com?
Tagged, that was a little later. Because we had Yahoo Messenger. Mm-hmm. Then it went over to MySpace. Mm-hmm. And it was another one in between that one too. And so being able to talk to girls without having to physically approach them was intriguing. Like, we could talk to all the girls that we wanted to talk to over this thing and possibly be able to meet them. So that instant courage was there. So that kind of overtook the basketball. So now I'm spending time in the computer for hours. Might go hoop a little bit, see if we can see some girls outside, but it's much easier to talk to these girls on the computer. Yeah. So these things overtook the art, basically.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you need some type of income. Moms, pops, they're not going to take care of you.
Now you got to work.
Now you got to work. So now you're trying to be on the Tinder. That was of the Tinder, the Black People Meet, all type of different stuff. Yeah. It was another platform in the middle of that, a dating app stuff that was real busting. I forgot the name of it. But, yeah, so.
There was a lot on. You got Plenty of Fish. You got all type of.
Those came a little later, but they were just as big. Yeah. Just as big. So, yeah.
And then how did you eventually, through all that, because that seemed like you went through your teenage years and you went through your young adulthood. So at one point, did you finally get back to the art?
Just now. Wow. Just the past few years, just now, just realizing, like, what made me happy. Mm-hmm. And that's what we talking about, purpose. Like, okay, what do I wake up every day for? It ain't to get women. Because for a long time, I was like, I woke up every day like, oh man, I gotta get some chicks. I gotta get some girls. I gotta get some money. That was my motivations every day. If I can get one of these two things, then I'm good. But if you don't have either one of those, what are you waking up for? My purpose was to create. That's why I went into barbering. I thought that was like my avenue for creation. Well, I didn't know that's what would be the avenue for creation. I just knew I needed to get some money. And a trade was one thing where I was told you could always have an income from. So I was like, okay, let me go into barbering or something like that. Went to barber college, graduated from there. That was a part of art.
Nice.
So when that didn't work out any longer, I'm back asking myself, like, what can I do that could challenge my creativity but would be purposeful? So I went, man, I love fashion. I love to put clothes together. Let me do that. Let me see how that flows with me.
Yeah.
In fashion, you're not gonna make any money off top. It's more investment than anything. It's work and change.
And I could tell that you're interested in fashion. I could tell by how your style is.
Man, I'm trying. Every day is like a challenge, and that's what keeps me doing it. Like, what can I put together with this? What fabric works with that?
Yeah.
Is this look appropriate for the weather? Is this photo ready? Mm-hmm. People may say they don't do it for acknowledgement or anything, but when somebody say you look good, you're gonna feel better. If you can get that multiple times a week, that's like dopamine being fed every day. Mm-hmm. So you're going to keep it going, but for the most part, it's a challenge of creativity. Yeah. What things work well together? What can I create this day? So fashion is ever evolving in that way.
Yeah.
But fashion, it's a part of art, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not the art I grew up with. So I had a friend, and we were going to the different thrift stores. When the pandemic hit, we would get little jewelry and everything. Yeah. And I was like, man, I can make this myself. So I went to Joann's and Michael's and got a bunch of different beads and strings and stuff and crystals. So let me start making some jewelry. Let me figure out how to wire wrap and everything. So I did that. I felt so good about it. I'm wearing my little pieces. Next thing I know, people ask me, like, man, where'd you get that from? I'm like, you know what? The pandemic got me creating. So I made these pieces. So they're like, oh, can you make me one? It's like, well, you know what? Let me figure out, how your soul is working, how your chakras align. Let's create you something based on that. What's your purpose? What do you feel like you lacking in? What do you need? Let me make you a piece of a jewelry or a piece based on that, something that actually help you out. So in doing that, I was like, you know what? I'm still missing something. Let me draw a little bit. Start drawing a little, getting these little color pencils and things from like Michael's and Joann's. Yeah. Like let me go ahead and draw something, just to doodle away, kill some time. I was like, you know what? Let me paint something. I ain't never really painted. Let me get a canvas. I got a bunch of canvases in here, a lot of paint. Let me paint something. So I did like a little abstract painting. I thought it was cool. Now I look back at it, I'm like, it could have been better. Mm-hmm. But that's what lit the match. Yeah. So when I was drawing those little sketches with the color pencils, I got into that zone again. I'm like, damn, this feels familiar. This is something I was missing. This is my liberation. This is my freedom from bills and outside sources. Things that stress me. This is my freedom. And then painting did it again. Like, of course, it was a challenge because I've drawn, but I never painted. Painting with acrylic is another level from drawing. Yeah. And then painting from oil is another level from that. So it's still that challenge there, that creative challenge that I had with fashion, that I had with stopping the VCR and drawing something on paper. Mm-hmm. So that's basically how I got back to it.
Yeah, that's real cool because usually artists will tell me that they have been drawing since a kid and they just been consistent the whole time. So the fact that you was a kid, took a very, very long break, and then got back to it, post-pandemic or pandemic, that's cool. And the fact that you're so sharp, you're so sharp with it, that's the craziest thing about it, man. So it's real cool.
It can only be purpose. I took that break when I was 13, 14, and I didn't come back to it until I was 31.
Wow.
So
it's almost a 20-year hiatus.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's how you know it's purpose. That's how you know.
It's purpose.
Well, on that note, we gonna welcome Reggie McFly to the elementary school. Long story short, he has to do 10 questions and give us 10 answers. They multiple choice.
All right.
For a chance to be in the Bedroom Hall of Fame. We be welcomed by the greats.
I'm ready for it.
You ready?
I'm here.
Which country is an island and a continent? Is it A, Africa, B, India, or C, Australia?
What? Wait a minute. Wow.
A, B, or C?
It's an island and a continent.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's not Africa.
Nope.
And what was the other one?
You got India and Australia. Come on, 3 more seconds.
India?
Australia. Dang.
The 3 seconds threw me off.
Fly.
I instantly went to Africa because I'm black. So I'm like, okay, I know that's not an island.
It was Australia. It's all good. It's all good. Maybe next time when you come on, you'll have another chance at the
Australia. I'm trying to think of who I know from Australia.
What's your favorite style of art?
My favorite style of art?
Mm-hmm.
I would say abstract realism. Because you get to have an element of actual real life, but then you also have abstract. So you could throw in whatever you want into that mix.
Yeah.
So I feel like abstract realism is really dope.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Like, so have you seen that from a particular artist growing up that you was just like, oh, okay, I like this artist that does this particular thing?
Hell no. It's just, I just call what I did abstract realism because like I'm gonna take an actual photo.
Yeah.
Like I might draw a photo of Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But then I'll put a lot of graffiti around him. Something you see just only in imagination. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's abstract realism. Mm-hmm. So it's something I'm like, okay, I'm an abstract realism artist. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like I started titling myself a revolutionary conceptualist. Mm. So I feel like I have a lot of interesting concepts that maybe nobody has ever had before. Yeah. So like, why I couldn't be a revolutionary conceptualist?
Yeah. What do you feel like with that abstract realism? What do you feel like is your favorite piece that you've ever made from abstract realism? And is it online for people to see?
I feel like it would be the Basquiat. I feel like you get a insight into his life. Yeah. But the colors that are into him, like into his face, into the portrait, are abstract. Yeah. But the abstract colors actually make up the actual photo of his face. Wow. So you know it's him, but it's him in abstract form.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember that piece. I remember saying that joint. You went crazy. Is Basquiat your favorite artist?
I would have to say. Yeah. I would have to say because he's basically the only black artist that we know. Mm. Like I asked somebody to name me 3 black artists, painters. You probably couldn't name me.
That's 2. True. I feel like Basquiat is probably the only one. Like you don't got like a whole bunch of. It's like Basquiat.
We don't have any.
Yeah.
Of course, I've learned a few. I'm not gonna name them. But I've learned a few. Yeah. But Basquiat is the only one that we could really relate to. Like, he holds a space in rap. He holds a space in fashion now. And, of course, the biggest space is in art. But he also holds a space in even black liberation or the Black Lives Matter, just being a famous black painter in the 80s as a millionaire. And to move in those rooms where nobody looked like him and to dominate those rooms. Like, he went from being a street artist to being in major museums. You've never seen anything like that before. Wow. Even now, like, what black painters do you know? And we are in a revolution of a lot of black painters, male and female. Which ones do you know by name that are in major museums or selling millions of dollars of pieces at Sotheby's, at auction? We don't have anybody.
We don't got it.
We got the Hebrew Brantleys and things like that. You know, of course, they're bigger names now, but they're not at that revolutionary point.
At least not none that I'm aware of personally, and I feel like you more aware of that space than I am. So it's like something that like is talked about. It's like you hear about Basquiat, but you don't hear about a whole bunch of other people outside of him.
Of course, you're gonna hear about a Picasso or a Warhol or something like that. You hear about these people all the time.
Yeah.
But none of them is black. Of course, Picasso has some black in him, but he's not. You look at him, okay, he's not a black man. He's an Italian, So Basquiat he's our champion, basically, and until we raise new champions, not to replace, but inspired by.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm over.
And the '80s is such a long time ago too. So for his stuff, I feel like Basquiat, as hot as he was then, it seems like he's even more hot now. So it just makes me wonder, like, do we have to be decades off from an artist for them to be relevant?
I feel like not in today's time, because we're in the microwave revolution. So everything's quick, and we have social media.
Yeah.
So you can see anything throughout the world in a few seconds. So many people can see something so many times. Back then, you just had word of mouth. My mom, of course, she was around in the 80s when Basquiat was. She didn't know him, but he was a millionaire. Mm-hmm. That's amazing, though. Like, he was on television. He was one of the first people on MTV, artists. He wasn't interviewed, but he had a commercial on there.
Yeah.
Not many people know this.
Yeah.
It's interesting. He wasn't big in 89, 90, 88. He died in 88. Yeah. He was big in 1980, 81, 82, 83. So we talking about the early 80s. Mm-hmm. And he passed away in 88. So he only had, maybe he blasted off in like 1981. So he only had like 7, 8 years from that to thrive or to get big. So he did his most work, or greatest works that we see sold now on T-shirts or anything, in a 4 or 5 year span. Mm-hmm. So he left over hundreds of paintings, like 500, 600, 700 paintings, thousands of drawings. You're talking about in a 5 year span to leave out. It's almost like Tupac.
He was working. Yeah.
Yeah, like these great people who pass away so early make so much work.
Yeah. And back then, I think, like, today we more focused on content creation, so sometimes we can get away from making our actual art because we so focused on promoting the art itself. So it's like, I think back then, only how you could promote yourself was by just creating as much as you could.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the more you created, the more opportunities you had to show somebody your best work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's just crazy that he has so much work lined up.
And I feel like one thing that's different, too, from then and now is if you only could show your work to promote yourself, and you might only see this person one time, you're going to make that piece of work that you show the best representation of what you could do and representation of yourself. I feel like now, since we could spread our stuff so quickly, we worry about the quantity versus the quality.
Yeah.
If I can only show you one of my paintings, or if you can come to my show and you can only see those paintings and nothing else, I'm going to make sure those you see are the best things that you ever see in your life. So if you see anything else, you expect that quality of work from me.
Yeah, nice. And what's your favorite thing within your art? Well, what's the favorite thing from within you as a person that you like to express in your art?
That anybody can do it. There's no such thing as I can't draw good. I can only draw stick figures. Make that the best damn stick figure you ever drew. Mm-hmm. Like, make sure you put you inside of it. That's one thing I did take from Basquiat. And what I would like people to know, they might look him up after this. His paintings did look like children's work. It wasn't anything that was highly detailed, and I feel like that's why he was able to leave behind so many artworks and drawings and stuff, hundreds of thousands artworks and stuff, not 100,000, hundreds and thousands, because he drew like a kid. He painted like a kid. Of course, he could paint detailed paintings. He could actually draw very well and paint very good, but he did these artworks because he said a child's imagination is unfiltered. It's no limit to what a child can do. the cap is when you become older, kind of like when I told you I went through puberty.
Yeah.
So now I'm away from drawing and I'm worried about so many other things instead of embracing what I love to do. So the reason why he made these paintings look like child's work is because a child is limitless.
So can you walk us through your story of your vision? Because I remember you was telling me how, and you ain't got to necessarily go through every detail because I know it's a very, very, very deep story. But short form, walk people through your vision because a lot of people aren't aware that you've had a lot of troubles with your vision, and you even right now, you know, your eyes. You're pretty much seeing out of one eye for the most part.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? And like, please just tell us that story.
Disclaimer, I don't have on these sunglasses because I can't see. It's just, they groovy. They have them on for the, you know, you got to keep the style together.
Yeah.
But, so to cut the thick to the thin, you know, I was born with an autoimmune disease, and I didn't know that. So I ended up having to have a heart surgery like later in my teen years to take out an enlarged aorta. So I was born with Takayasu's arteritis, and it just basically goes around the body attacking different organs and blood vessels until you just die.
Wow.
So it's a never-ending thing, but it could be a quick means to end, basically. So that was detected when I was 18. And after that, that's when I came into, I need a trade. I need a job. I need something to do. That's when the barbering came together. During my time barbering, I started to lose my eyesight in my left eye. So as I would say, the curtain came down. So it was just a black fog that came down from the top of my eye. So basically lost the vision in my left eye, and then decided to take care of my health on a major scale. So I looked into Dr. Sebi and the alkaline lifestyle, and I left the barbering job to just focus on my health and do something I was passionate about, which was the fashion. During that journey, I fasted to begin the journey, maybe like 7 days, and then began eating alkaline foods and living the alkaline lifestyle. I detached from going to the doctors and medications and everything, and I didn't have anything to replace the medications. I just thought that eating differently would change my whole autoimmune disease and, you know, just have me on the righteous, up and right path. But it didn't. I began to lose my eyesight in my right eye. So that did happen. Everything got real foggy. It's like if you were in a room of dense fog and you're trying to see people, you only see like these blurry images, very blurry, very smoky. So I didn't have my left eye and I didn't have my right. I fasted for 83 days, learned about the herbs in the body, different sciences, different philosophies. And only after that, not immediately even, but after that, maybe like 6-7 months later, I was able to get back like 65-70% of the vision in my right eye. So I'm like 70-40. So I have like 40% vision in my left eye and 70% in my right. I still have a lot of floaters and static, you know, like a static television. That's how I would say my right eye is. So it's not really super sharp, but I can make things out pretty well. Yeah. So it's like if you needed to wear glasses and you didn't have them on at that point, you wasn't doomed without the glasses, but you could do better with them. The funny thing is I can't even wear glasses to see afar. I can only wear them to see it close in my right eye. In my left eye, I can't wear glasses to see close or far. So if I had full vision in this eye, I would be able to see far. So it's interesting. You know, my brain working between the both, it doesn't like to use my left eye because it's not giving the full extent of vision like my right eye should be given or is given to a certain extent. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what was going on in my eyes. So
So what's the percentages at this moment? Is it still 70-40?
You know, it fluctuates, I would say, to a 75. This one is, I would say it fluctuates as well. So I would say when I told you the curtain came down, it's went up a certain extent, which they said that would never happen. Ooh. And, of course, they said I never get this one back either. But, you know, purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose. I'm supposed to be doing something.
Nice. That's beautiful. That's a blessing. So what is the last question? What are your plans for the rest of 2023?
My plans for the rest of 2023. So actually, July 1st, I'm having my first solo art show. And it's gonna be quite interesting. The name of the art show is A Blind Art Show.
Nice.
So it's views from a blind person or perspectives. And in the show, I just want people to see different artworks from a different imagination, basically from a blind person. And I want the experience to be inspirational and motivational, but I want people to enjoy themselves and they come away from the show knowing like, man, if this brother can do this, what can I do?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing heading up the rest of the year. The next thing is I will be in Miami for the Art Basel. That would be a great experience.
Nice. I love Miami.
So, yeah, I would be partaking.
My first time in Miami actually was right after Art Basel, and you get to still see the whole street is still full of just art that people didn't left around.
Man, so dope. It's like the art Woodstock.
Yeah.
It's like the grandiose of art,
Nice. That's exciting.
So those are my two major plans. Other than that, I am releasing my website. It's called The Irrational Thoughts because it's ill-advised, but it's rational. So it's basically everything they told us that we're not supposed to do or think, but we feel that it's the right thing to do. That is the website, and that's a space for us. So intuition. Like if your intuition tells you that this is the right thing, but somebody else is not telling you the same thing, go with your intuition.
Go with the intuition. I see.
So it's ill-advised, which is rational. So the Irrational Thoughts, that website will be launching. It's for music, art, fashion, and photography.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. I'll be writing articles on different people, places, and things from the current day and throughout history. So we'll be looking back to give to the present, to build to the future.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man.
So, yeah.
And on that note, we gonna welcome McFly to the hot seat where he has to answer 10 questions. He has 10 seconds to answer each and every one. Unfortunately, he can't get into the Hall of Fame because he didn't pass elementary school. But we just gonna do this for fun. We gonna do it for fun, just to get to know you a little bit more.
All right.
All right. What's a weird talent you have?
What's a weird talent I have?
Yeah, something that you know yourself that we don't know.
A weird talent I have. I know when people are lying.
You say you know when people lie?
Yes, I have an intuition to feel when something's off.
What's like a telltale sign when somebody lies?
I guess it's just their tone of voice, their eye reflections. It is funny because I can't see, but I can see bullshit. It's interesting. That's an interesting talent. You're not going to get a lot across on me. I can pick up on a lot of different things. And I feel like during that time of me not being able to see, my other senses heightened. So I have feelings, I guess, through hearing and smelling. You can smell a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting, though. I didn't have this before.
You can smell a lot.
I can smell a lot.
Okay, let's go to the next one. What's your favorite food?
My favorite, I'm vegan. So my favorite food, I would have to say, is fried oyster mushrooms.
That's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I throw pizza in there too, though. If you check out my Instagram page, you'll see my pizza dishes I've been making. Very interesting.
Okay.
I like a stuffed crust pizza recently.
Yeah. Okay.
Very interesting. Fried oyster mushroom, gotta try them.
Are you single?
Yes, I'm very single.
Very much so.
Very single. Yeah, I mean, you gotta work on yourself before you can welcome somebody else into your life.
True. What's your favorite word?
Damn.
Straight up.
Damn with an F word.
Damn.
I use those constantly throughout the day. My friend laughed at me because she said, you say these words in front of old people, and we would think it'd be disrespectful, but they'd be laughing. I'm like, damn, am I that type of comedian? Do I come off as that funny?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's my
funny.
favorite. Like, damn.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color is black.
Oh, okay. Nice. Interesting.
Black.
Very interesting, actually.
Always been black.
What's the worst movie you've ever seen in your entire life?
Whew. That's a good one, though. I can't even think of one because I probably tried to put it out of my mind.
There's a lot of bad movies out there. Even if you don't know the name, at least tell us what happened in the movie. Because sometimes you don't remember the name, but like, do you know the events that happened?
You know, I'm going to give you an interesting one. It's called Downtown 81. It's Basquiat's movie. So he acted as like a street artist. It was just so horrible. God, I had to cut it off. I'm like, this is just crazy. I fell asleep on it a couple times. And I was like, it was in my dreams. It was so crazy. Like when I fell asleep, it was in my dreams. I'm like, this is the craziest movie. You know, God bless the dead. Like, I'm sorry. It was horrible.
Okay.
It was horrible.
Let's move on then. What's your favorite genre of music?
Hip hop, rap.
Nice. Favorite Disney princess?
You know, I checked out The Princess and the Frog. She was groovy.
Yeah.
I messed with her. I checked it out. I'm like, she was groovy. I'm like, I can get down with her. If I was a cartoon, I'd definitely be hollering
That's so
out.
cool. You said?
I'd
If
be
you was a
doing it.
cartoon.
Yeah.
What's one thing that makes you really happy?
Completing a project.
Yes.
It makes me real happy. You know, but to say that is like once I complete something, I'm automatically on to the next thing. Like what's next? And the problem with that is sometimes you don't get to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find balance in that, like while I'm doing a project, embracing and enjoying that moment of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then afterward, rejoicing like, man, I did that.
Yeah.
If nobody else ever sees this, I did that.
Yeah, I did it.
I did that.
Who, and it's the very last question, who's your least favorite family member?
Damn. See, there we go. That's what I'm saying. Damn. I would have to say the ones I don't know.
You just opted out of that question.
I have to.
Oh my goodness, it's all good, man. Well, Fly, it was great having you, man.
My man.
It was beautiful, man. We gonna end off right now with a scripture of the day. So the scripture of the day is gonna come from Proverbs 22 and verse 1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold.
And with that,
Meditate on it.
there we go.
Meditate on it. All right, McFly.
My man.
Really appreciate you for sliding, man. It was beautiful,
For
man.
sure.
It was great, bro.
Yeah.
This has been Mini Bedroom Interviews. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
All right. I hope I'm centered inside that camera.
You want to record it, check it out, and then stop it and see it.
That's actually smart.
Package all on the camera.
Oh, no, you good.
You know, they
Unless
don't
you-
show the baggies like they used to. Yeah, there we go. That should be decent there.
You cool, man. Unless you got one of them unreasonable baseball bat joints.
Nah, definitely. I don't even want the ladies to think that. You'll be disappointed when you go to the crib.